Hello and welcome. In this codewars JavaScript video, I'll be taking you step by step how I solved the Is My Friend Cheating challenge on codewars.com. I solved this challenge in 5 easy to follow steps, but before I get to that, let me explain the challenge. You will receive a number and your task is to find two numbers which product is equal to the sum of all the numbers leading up to it, excluding the two numbers you selected. And you're supposed to return those two numbers as an array of arrays, as you can see in the sample tests over here. And of course, if you can't find any numbers, then you're supposed to return an empty array. It was a very tough challenge for me. Solving it wasn't the problem, but my previous code wasn't efficient enough to pass the test cases. But I think I have a pretty good one. I think I have a pretty good one now. The steps I took are as follows. First, I wanna create a variable that will be assigned to the sum of all those numbers. I googled an equation for that, and I also created an empty array to push others array into it to retain the format that they're asking for. Then I created a for loop iterating over all the possible numbers less than n, and I started from the top. Because most of the time, I think, no, actually always, it's going to be numbers from the top half rather than the bottom half. Then I needed to create an equation that will help me find the missing number. The starting equation is a times b is supposed to be equal to the sum a minus b and minus a minus b. So that's the starting equation, and b is gonna be my my variable from the for loop. So I'm looking for a, and you just have to change the equation in a way that a is equal to something. Then I needed to make sure that a is smaller than n and that it's an integer. So because I don't want to have any floats in my results. And last but not least, I can push an array of both numbers into the array from step 1 and then return it, and that should be it. So now that you know the steps you need to take to solve this one yourself, go ahead and give it a try, as that's the truly best way to get better. And I'll just get down to coding now. As I said before, first I want to create a variable that will have the sum of all those numbers, and I googled the equation and it goes something like this. It's n times n plus 1 divided by 2, and that's equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 and all the way plus n. That's the same thing, it's just easier that way. That's one of the first things I changed in my code, because before I did it with a loop, adding up all those numbers, and of course when the numbers were massive, it would just break and it would take a really long time to finish. So now step number 2 was running a for loop, and here I wanna set my variable, initialize my variable to be equal to n, because I don't want to change the number itself, but I still need to know what the number is, because I want to start from the top. And I also want b to be always greater than 0. And then I want to decrease it by 1 on every iteration. So that's pretty standard, I think. So now here is, I can move on to the fun part, which is creating the equation for the second number. As I said before, the equation is a times b equals sum minus a minus b. So I have sum and b. All I'm missing is the a. So I can change this equation now to be equal to, for it to be a equal to something, and that's gonna be my variable, and that's gonna be my a. So first I want to get rid of the a on the right hand side of the equation, so I'll add a to both sides. I remember from school that like we used to do it like something like this. We would do a dash and write something here, and that means that we're adding a to both sides of the equation. So if we add it here, it's just gonna be a times b plus a. And if we add it to here, to the right side, it's just gonna be left with some minus b, because these neutralize each other. Now I'll focus on the left side. A times b plus a can also be written as a times b plus a times 1. And this, on the other hand, can be written as a times b plus 1 in the brackets. If you think about it, it makes perfect sense, because the product of a times the brackets is a times b here plus a times 1. So it makes perfect sense, at least to me. Now I want to get rid of what's in brackets from the left side, so I divide both sides by b plus 1, and that leaves me with a equal to sum minus b divided by b plus 1, and that is my a. Yeah, I can just add const here, and then I have my a, and I can move on to step 4, which was making sure that the a is still smaller than n. And I also want to make sure that it's not a float, because we don't want those. So I'll use the isInteger. Oops. And I'll just pass in a as the argument. If both of those are true, all I have to do here is I didn't create the array. I forgot. So I can do it now. And I can just push into that array the array of a and b, and just return it over here. And let's see if it works. It does. So that's it for this video. I hope this helped. Let me know if you had any problems, because it was a really difficult one, at least for me. And if you did it differently, I'd also be interested to find out different ways. And I'll see you in the next video.